Hello and welcome along to this Scottish Digital Literacy Week 2025 live lesson on playing and making games. My name is Callum Grogan and I am a digital pedagogy practitioner from North Lanarkshire who will be taking you through a live code-along lesson using MakeCode Arcade. Let's have a look at today's learning intention. So your learning intention today is to make an arcade game. And your success criteria is to identify and use gaming vocabulary, code multiple sprites, and include variables and conditional repetition as part of the gaming features. Let's move on to some of that gaming literacy vocab. So let's have a look at some of the words and phrases that you may have heard of or may not have heard of. So we're going to go through the first few. So genre in there is just going to be the kind of style of game that we are creating. Today that is going to be a shooter style game. It's going to be a very arcade idea using kind of asteroids, and it's called Space Blast. Some of the gaming features then, and we use a lot of our code to create this. So things like scoring and health, we will be using a lot of our variables, so watch out for that today when we're creating that. And also that we'll be using win-lose conditions, so that is going to be our conditional code that we add in later on as part of our projectiles, and when things touch things or sense things, you know that's going to happen. And finally then in there is our game controls, and that literally is just how we control our game, how we move our sprite around, and how we gain our points as well. So without any more talking, let's move on into the actual code along lesson. So welcome to MakeCode Arcade. This is what you should see in front of you once you have opened up the starter project. We have a few areas we're going to go through. So over on the left hand side you'll see our kind of game screen, and this is where our code will come to life. And you'll see a little spaceship in the middle of the screen and there are asteroids currently falling from the sky. So that is all the code that has been added to create that output. At the moment over here is the input, so this is what we put in to create that output for you. So we've got some code on the start block, looking at our asteroids and different types and sizes we have, and also looking at the projectile about how it moves, so how those asteroids are then moving around as well. And finally, our little sprite, which is our player sprite, is going to be our spaceship today as well. And this area over here is just known as the workspace. In the middle of these two then we have the kind of coding area and all the different categories or sections that are all color coded, and they have different functions and different blocks that we will be using today. We'll use quite a lot of them today. Okay. Next part then, once you actually then finish your code today, you can use this little button down here to go full screen. So if we're testing any code today, you can go full screen, test it out, using the A, S, D and W keys to move your little controller or move your spaceship around. Or you could just, if you've got a touchscreen, if you're using an iPad today, you can actually just use the joystick and the AB button as part of the game today as well. At the moment, we're going to come off that, so just press this exit full screen button, and we're back to ready to code. This can be quite distracting, so what I like to do is just press the stop button just now, and that will stop that from moving as we're coding along. So let's begin by adding in some more code to this script in here that says on the start. And all I'm going to do just now is zoom in. If you are on an iPad or a touch screen, you can just use your fingers to pinch in, or you can just use these little zoom in out buttons today to help you do that as well. I'll zoom in just to make it a bit easier to see. First thing I'm going to go into is the sprites section. It's the blue category. I'm going to click in here, I'm going to scroll down, and I want to find a block that is called Set My Sprite to Stay in Screen. And you'll see that just there, it's in the effects section. So set my sprite to stay in screen, and it's toggled on just now. Drag that underneath and place it inside of this on start block, underneath the set ship to sprite of kind player. But you will notice at the moment I've set my sprite called ship, and at the moment this one just says my sprite, so I need to change that to make sure it says ship. You will do this quite a lot today, so make sure you are doing that. And if you are going through and you need to debug any of this, there will be a wee error kind of message beside it. You can see here a little sign that says return the value of this variable. So we need to actually change this. So click on here and press the one that says ship. So that way our ship will not go flying off our screen. Back into the kind of blue sprite section again. And this time round we're looking for one that says set my sprite X to 0. And it's just this one here. You can see it underneath the physics section. I want to change a couple of things in here. So drag that out and place that just directly underneath your previous block. Again, it still says my sprite, so I'm going to change this to ship. I also want to change where that's going to be the start position of the ship. So I'm going to change that says X here. I'm going to click on that and it gives you lots of different options. If you scroll down, there's one that says bottom. Okay, so we know the bottom of our sprite is going to be set to a specific area on our screen. And I'm going to change the 0 to 120. We'll put in one more block of code here and take a wee break and check that your code you've added in is correct and test your code, and then we'll move on to the next part. But just now we're going into our controller section, and this is where we start to bring in our game controls that we talked about earlier on in our gaming vocabulary as well. And we're going to use this very top block here that says move my sprite with buttons. We'll drag that in and place it just underneath our previous block put in. And again, it still says move my sprite, so I have to click on that and change that to ship. And we are going to just press on this little plus button at the end of the block as well, because that's going to expand our block out a little bit, just to check that our VX and VY values are both at 100. Take a pause here, press on the play button, use your controls. So remember, to move your ship around, you need to use the W, A, S and D keys if you are on a laptop or computer. If you are on an iPad or a tablet today or a touchscreen, you can launch in full screen and just use the joystick and the A, B button for you there as well. So welcome back. I'm going to add some more code just underneath the 3 blocks we've just added. So I'm going to scroll up just a little bit, just so that I've got some more space underneath. So normally if we are going to add in life points or scores, we need to add and create a variable. But in MakeCode Arcade, it's been very well constructed that actually we can go into this info area, and we actually already have these things created for us to create some really cool game features. So we'll add in our score feature and our life feature as well. So at the start of the game, I want to set my life to 3. So if you just go down to this bit here, you can see set life, and it has 3 in there already. If yours says 0 in there, all you have to do is click on where it says 0 and change the number to 3. So that's the first thing that you have to do. Back into the info section again, and this time we're going to set our score to 0. Because remember, this is sitting inside our loop that says on start. So when the game starts, it will set the score to 0 and give you 3 life points as part of the game as well. So that was a quick couple of wee blocks just added in, and we've got one more block just to add in here, and we'll move on to the next little part. And it's in the scene section, in this kind of darker coloured area. Click on that, and we're going to scroll down until we see one that says start screen, and it has the word confetti in it as well. So start screen confetti effect. We're going to change confetti in a little second, but drag that out and place it at the very bottom of this of code. Just like we did with earlier on, changing my sprite to ship, you see the little arrow, click on that and it gives you lots of different options. And we're going to change ours to Starfield today. And I'm going to just test my code out. I'm going to just press play just now and make sure I can now see I've got my 3 life points, I've got my score 0 up there, and now I can see stars falling from the background as well. And if I move with W, A, S and D, I can move my little ship around. And that's great, but so far nothing happens when I try and do A and B, or if the asteroids actually touch the ship. So that is going to be our next part of the code along. Pause here, make sure you've got all that in, test your code out, and then come back. So moving on then, we're going to add in a new script of code. So we need to create some more space on our workspace. So drag your workspace over a little bit, just so you're creating some more blank space in here for you. And we're going to add in a block in the controller section this time. It's adding in some more game controls. And it's going to be the one that says on a button pressed. And this is how we are going to be looking at shooting our projectile. So once we've added that in, we're not going to change anything on that block, but we are going to go into the sprite section again, the blue area, and we're going to scroll down to find one that says set projectile to projectile. And it's quite a long block, and at the moment mine says projectile 2, but we're going to be changing that very soon. We'll drag that out and place it inside of the block. Once I've done that, as I said, I'm going to change projectile 2, click on here, and I'm going to just change it to projectile. So I only want one projectile. Then moving along, we'll notice it says My Sprite in here as well, and it has a little error message. Click on this, and we're going to change this to ship, because our projectile is going to come out of our ship, and our ship is only facing in one direction, so we're actually only going to shoot out in one direction as well. So our VX that says 50, we're going to change to 0, and our VY that says 50 as well, we're changing to minus 140. If you are on a tablet, it may not let you to drag all the way to 140. If I change it to 0 just now and click on it and drag it all the way along to the minus, I think it only goes to minus 100, so that is fine as well. Once you've done that part, there's one little bit that I need to finish off, and it's the projectile part inside of here, because we've not actually told it what our projectile is yet. So click on this little grey square. Once you've done that, it will take you into the editor section, and we're going to create our projectile today. This is where you get a little bit of personalisation and choice here. I'm going to create my projectile using the green tile over here, but you can choose whatever colour you wish in the shape of your projectile as well. But I'll show you how I make mine. I click on the green one, and then I'm going to click on 3 squares at the bottom, so it's 3 squares wide, and then I'm going to go, so that's 1 at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high, and then I'm just going to fill in the rest of this to make it look like a laser beam. Once I've got my projectile ready to go, all you need to do from there is then click on done, and you should see your little projectile should now be inside of your grey square. And over on your game screen, if you then press on the space bar, if you are on a PC or laptop, you should now see that your projectile will fly out when you press that, or if you're on an iPad or a touchscreen, you can just hit on the A button on your screen as well. We're not quite finished there though, because we need to then actually give it a little bit of a cool effect as well. Go back into the sprite section and scroll down until you see the effects area, which is here, and it's the first block there that says My Sprite Start Spray Effect. Drag that out and place it underneath the subset projectile from ship block. Again, it says My Sprite, so we're going to have to change My Sprite over to projectile. So click on that and change it to projectile. And I'm going to change the spray effect as well. I quite like the cool radial effect, so if I click on that, and one there it says cool radial. Once you've done all that, you can pause the video here, take a wee break, make sure you've got all the code in properly, you've got your projectile designed, and that when you press on the spacebar or the A button, that your projectile now works as well and has a really cool little effect coming off of the projectile as well. Welcome back, and at this part of today's lesson we're going to add in some more conditions now, so that if our projectile overlaps or touches one of the asteroids, it's going to then do something that we're going to code right now. So make sure you've still got a little bit of space in your workspace area. I'm going to just drag that up a little bit just so I've got some more space here. And the first place I'm going to go to is the sprites section. Then I'm going to drag down, and I'm looking for quite a big block just now, and it's this one here that says overlaps. So it says on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind player, and then on the inside is what's going to happen when that condition is true or is met. Put that into some area into your workspace, and we're going to change some of this up just now as well. So sprite will stay the same, but player is going to change from player to projectile. Other sprite will remain the same, but player is going to change to enemy, so that if our projectile touches an enemy, then we know it's going to do something to the asteroid, because the asteroids are the enemy. Go into then our sprite section again, the blue area, and we're looking now for one that says destroy my sprite or destroy sprite. And it's in the effect section, and it's just in here, and you're going to drag that out and place it inside that loop. But you'll also see at the moment it just says destroy my sprite, and I don't want to destroy my sprite, I want to destroy the sprite that we're using. So this little rounded circle here that has the word sprite in it, we're going to drag that and place it inside here. When you see the wee connectors lined up, let go, and it will snap it in place. It might get rid of this one, so all you have to do is just bin that over here. So that's the first part done. The next part, we're also going to destroy another sprite, so we're going to get the exact same block in. So back into sprites, scroll down, find the destroy my sprite block, and place it back inside here. But this time, we also want the projectile to destroy once it touches, so we've done that part, but we also want the asteroid to be destroyed as well. So we're going to use this one this time, the other one that says other sprite, and drag that in and replace inside here. Again, we just have to delete this by placing that back into the category section. If you click on this little plus, we can change the effects, and we are going to do that. We're going to change spray, and I quite like the one that's further down, and it's called disintegrate, so that when our laser beam or our projectile touches an asteroid, it will then just disintegrate on the screen, which is really, really cool. And the effect could be for 500 milliseconds, so that's just half a second. You can make that larger or smaller. That's a bit of your personalisation and choice today as well. And the final block we're going to add to here is that when it actually destroys an asteroid, it needs to add 1 to our score. So we're going to go back into this info section that we used earlier on. And again, this is going to be one of more of our game features of making sure that actually the game is fun to play for the user. And we're looking for the one that says change score by 1. Drag that out and place it at the bottom of that script. And that is that script of code completed. I will take a wee pause here for you to go off and test your code out. So if you go to your game area and start moving around, and if I start to try and hit some of the asteroids, you should start to see the asteroids are now disintegrating and they are adding points to my score as well. However, we have not coded that if the asteroid touches a ship, that something else is going to happen to our game as well. So come back and we'll go move on to the next part. So we're moving on to our final script of today's game design lesson. We'll just scroll up on the workspace here just to create a bit of an empty area for us to add in a new bit of code. And we're going to go into our sprite section here. And we're going to pull out the same block we used at the start of the last script. And it's the one that says on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind player just now as well. So drag that out and just place it anywhere on your workspace. We're not going to change the one this time that says player, we're only going to change the one at the end that says player. We're going to change that to enemy. So click on that and choose enemy. Before we go into the kind of adding in the wee destroy sprite, we're going to go into the scene section, and just to make our game again a bit more of a kind of added feature to our game, so that way when we are hitting off the asteroids, our game screen is going to shake a little bit as if we're actually in the game as well. So go into the scene area, and there's one that says camera shake by 4 pixels, and we're going to drag that one in first and place that inside. So anytime that an asteroid touches the spaceship, the game screen will shake. And I'm going to just pause this just now, just so we can keep that a little bit of a surprise as we get to the end to test our code. The next one we're going to do then is go back into our sprites area, and we're looking for the one again that says destroy my sprite, and we used that earlier. There it's here, and we're just going to drag that in and place it underneath. But again, just like earlier on, we are going to change the my sprite and use the other sprite rounded block that's already in the top block. So drag that out and replace that just inside. And remember, just to get rid of what's been replaced. Also, I would like to then click on the little plus, and we'll change spray to disintegrate just like we did before. Because this time, when the asteroid hits the spaceship, I want the asteroid to disintegrate as if it's just broken up into a million pieces hitting onto our spaceship. The next one then is going to be looking at a little effect as well. So into our sprites area again, and you're going to drag down into the effects area, and you're looking for the one there that says my sprite start spray effect. Drag that out and place it just underneath. And we are going to change the My Sprite one. We're going to use this rounded sprite block at the top of the code here and drag that out to that area. Again, remember, just like before, delete what has just been replaced. And I don't want the spray effect, I actually want this to be the fire effect. So click on there and there should be one that says fire, which will allow you to add a little bit of a fire effect to your spaceship and your screen every time it gets hit by one of the asteroids. But it only lasts for a little while and then it will go away again. So we have our final block of today, which will then create a full game in MakeCode Arcade. And when the asteroid hits our spaceship, we need it to lose a life. So we're going to go into the info area, and down here, instead of putting set life, we're going to say change life by -1. And remember, we have it as -1 because we're taking a life away, so it needs to make sure that it is minus. If we have it as 1, then that would be adding a life to our life points, which we don't want to do as part of our game. So that is us completed today's game design code along. So well done and congratulations if you've managed to do that today. All there is left to do now is to play along and see who in your class can get the highest score. Remember, you can go full screen and you can test out your game. If you're on a laptop or computer, you use WASD keys to move around and the space bar to send your projectiles flying into the sky. And if you're on an iPad or a touchscreen device today, you can just open up the full screen and use the joystick that you see on screen and the A button as well. Again, well done and congratulations today, and we hope to see you join another one of these live lessons soon.